What's up, AJ back here at E3 2011. Todd Batty, Creative Director, SSX. Now we're going to check out Trick It, part of the new SSX game, and you guys are we're looking at the Himalayas now.
Yeah, so for the Trick It drop, we are going to go to a place in the lower altitude of the Himalayas, and for Trick It, this level is going to look probably the most familiar to SSX fans. This is a place where we start introducing some of the thematic elements and the sort of man-made objects on the mountain that really help to sort of define a region. So we're going to dive in here and take a look at some sort of remnants of the Great Wall of China. Again, we're taking some pretty big creative liberties. The topography that we have sourced is authentic and true, but the thematic elements and how we lay and how we shape the terrain around there is entirely driven by our artists and designers.
So you're telling me they won't allow me to run down the Great Wall of China on my snowboard?
Probably not.
I'm very disappointed now. But at least you can do it in this game.
Absolutely. So, the whole idea with tricks is, again, for anybody who's familiar with SSX, they're going to immediately grasp and understand this system. The idea is you do as many tricks as you can, and you build up a boost meter at the bottom of the screen. You for obvious reasons, might want to use that boost meter to get to where you want to go to, or get a little bit of extra airtime off your jump. But if you bank it all, build up your boost meter, you go into something we call sort of tricky mode, or a tricky state. And that's where then all of the same tricks that you were doing off of all your previous inputs get exaggerated even further, where you can do things like pop 1 foot off the board and do a 1 foot shove it. If I get enough speed off this next one here, oh wow, you can see that I can actually pop both my feet out of the board and spin the board around, and that's actually a trick that's completely inspired and brought to us from past versions of SSX. So the other thing with our that really comes out in our trick events is we spend a lot of time in building a very advanced core physics engine that in early days we sort of came up with the tagline of we should be able to ride anything. And the challenge with that is lots of games say that, and then they spend a great deal of effort in trying to sort of make that a reality. We actually achieved that. We created a physics engine that literally lets the player go anywhere and ride off anything, anywhere in any environment, which means it is truly an open world. You can go anywhere. There are no out-of-bounds signs. There are no fences. There are no objects that sort of keep penning you back in again. Every square inch of the environment is rideable, and as you can see from some of the tricks that we're doing, you can do fantastic tricks just by riding off of the really interesting shapes and whatnot. So one last thing we want to talk about with tricks, because there's been a lot of questions around sort of what are our control schemes, and we haven't finalized exactly what the controls are. Again, we're sort of mid-production. We're still working on a lot of gameplay elements, but what we've done, and I think it's a really cool sort of nod to the past and a nod to the future, if you will, is we give the gamer 2 ways to play the game. You can use the right analog stick as sort of a trick stick, use a lot of sort of gestures and swoops. It's actually a really intuitive, very responsive system. It all correlates with what the player is doing on the screen. But then we actually map that exact same system, and you can have all of the depth and all of that by actually using the buttons as well. So it's not a matter of picking your controller preference and going into a menu and saying, oh, I want to use button controls or stick controls. It's actually live at any given point in time. I actually find that I prefer doing some things on buttons and some on sticks, so I actually spend time going back and forth between the two, but it's a really nice thing, and the button controls are very inspired by the old SSX control scheme. We're still toying with the idea of actually recreating the exact old SSX control scheme and putting that in the product. We do a lot more in our game now than what you could do in the past in SSX, so it's a little bit challenging to try to figure out how to map it onto that control scheme. But regardless, there's going to be a lot of different ways to play the game, all entirely based on what kind of gamer and what type of, how you prefer to play your game.
All right, thanks, Todd. I think it's an understatement to say that SSX is all about variety with both the control schemes and the gameplay. When we come back, it'll be all about surviving it. The third part of this gameplay feature you guys are showing off at E3. Make sure to stay tuned at facebook.com/EA Sports.